I know all the cameras and everyone's here. 4 years ago, there was a change in how we did community engagement and how we moved and did things forward. I hope today we have a chance and opportunity to do a reboot. One thing I said on that day is that, you know, with the absence of a replacement, there's a void. And for 4 years, there has been a void. And hopefully today, we can make the first steps of doing something to move things forward. But I do want to thank those CACs that did remain active, that did remain engaged. I know it has not been easy. And I know we lost some CACs as well. And I hope that we can work better as partners in bringing things and moving things together. Thank you.
Councilmember Jones.
Thank you. I just have 2 things. Thank you for teeing that up. It's better late than never, I guess. All right. 4 years ago, at the first meeting in February of 2020, the previous council voted to dismantle the Citizens Advisory Councils with the swipe of a pen. Having just been elected as the chairperson for the entire organization, I, along with the CAC structure, were left blindsided in what felt like an attempt to silence our voices. Without a plan, the city prevented residents from using an organization that had been in existence since 1974 under Mayor Clarence Leitner. Our main goal was to be a conduit of information between residents and their city government. And without a true understanding of why it was so important to eliminate instead of empower us, we have struggled to survive the last 4 years. Hear me when I say this. I am so proud to have led the organization through our darkest times, ensuring that we didn't fade out because a few government officials wanted to silence us. While our organization is still rebuilding, I want to applaud those volunteers who dedicate their time and attention to teaching others how to have an impact on city government. It was my honor and privilege to learn from your experiences and to turn that into having a seat on the exact council which attempted to erase us. I am here because of you. It is an important first step to open the door to conversation at the January council retreat. We discussed CACs in depth and came to some concrete ideas that can help rebuild what we lost. We're at a point that begs us to connect our community and give them a seat at the table. Having spent the last 4 years in limbo with CAC discussion, always feeling like a thought being pushed off for later conversation, I want to show residents that their voices are being heard and acted on. This was a deep cut that has never been given the needed attention to begin to heal. When the community spends years advocating to be brought back into the fold, we have an obligation to respond clearly and definitively. I hope this motion will close a painful chapter in our history and open the door to building something that's gonna outlive us all. With all of that said, I move that the Raleigh City Council officially recognize and restore support for the Raleigh Citizens Advisory Council and CACs, returning them to their unique and historic role of providing opportunities for Raleigh residents to be heard and participate in two-way communication between themselves, city government, and their elected representatives. Furthermore, that the city do so with the following supporting elements. Number 1, provide CACs with free monthly meeting space in a convenient city facility within the geographic boundary of each CAC. And thankfully, our community engagement department presented more possibilities of community centers at our retreat, which makes this request that much easier. Number 2, allow access to city-owned technology, such as meetings programs like Zoom or Teams. If it is found that using Teams is not possible, I would direct staff to cover the cost of a yearly subscription of a Zoom account, even if that means pulling it from City Council contingency funds. And number 3, provide a succession plan. Educate Raleigh residents and community about the Raleigh Neighborhood College and Citizens Leadership Academy in an effort to encourage participation and cultivate future leaders, civic leaders. So with that, I know that I had a few other people would like to say some things before we complete that motion, but that is what I would like to put forward.
Councilmember Harrison. Yeah, I just want to say that I think we had a really constructive conversation at the council retreat, and I appreciate that staff is already thinking about where we're headed with this. But also, to the motion, this is an opportunity to formalize the partnership with CACs. I helped to restart the West Raleigh CAC after staff support was not there. It took a lot of work, and we have a lot of CACs that have not been able to restart, and my hope is to see that landscape grow across the city and that we have equity in the organizations that are able to get together, make their voices known, and be partners with us here at the city.
Councilmember Melton?
Thanks. I just want to add a few things. I mean, obviously, there's cameras here. I see the signs. I've had conversations with folks individually, and then I started getting text messages and calls. What is this motion going to be? I had seen some language of maybe where we were headed, but I did not know what was going to be said at the table. But what I heard was the things that we had consensus for at the retreat, which was providing access to community centers, which we're also going to provide to groups in our engagement network. But I do think that the CAC groups provide different type of communications. And so that monthly access to technology, and then a partnership. And that's where I see us moving forward. I was here during the last CAC vote, and I voted in favor of that. And my hope at the time was that we would build a robust system. And I had to be talked into that vote a little bit. And I did feel like we had to start over to get to where we needed to go. And I think where we've gone over this past 4 years is we've created the Office of Community Engagement. We've created a separate process for rezoning cases, but we need to provide a menu of options for folks to engage. Meaning, if you want to engage in a neighborhood meeting in person, there needs to be an option for you. If you want to engage online, there needs to be an option for you. If you've never engaged with the city because you feel like the city doesn't care about you or you don't have the time or resources, we will come find you and engage with you. And I think that the CAC groups provide an option for engagement that I support. I mean, I've been to these CAC organizations over the past year. I've seen the two-way communication, and I think now that the dust has settled, where we've found ourselves after 4 years is we've built out and are continuously building out a robust engagement network, and this is one piece of the pie. I've had folks contacting me saying, are we going to go back to the old way? There's no going back to the old way, but I think what we've learned is that there are pieces of the old way that are valuable in our new system. And I think that these neighborhood face-to-face communications, they do not work for everyone, but for a lot of people they do. And I want to be as supportive as we can to everyone who wants to engage in the way they want to engage. So I will support this because the ask is the things that we had consensus for at the retreat too. And I do appreciate everyone sticking with us during this, I'll call it a process. Thank you.
I would just like to say, going forward, I think it would be considerate to share a motion with the full council before just surprising people and making it at the table.
Did you do that when you dismantled them?
Would you like me to have you removed, Ms. Bailey? Would you like to be removed for disruption? Okay, then please behave. I was just going to ask, if going forward, if that could be the case, because I had no idea what was going to be proposed.
It sucks, doesn't it? It sucks to be blindsided.
And so what I would say is this is exactly what we discussed at the retreat. Why are we bringing this up in a formal motion when we already had consensus?
Because our CAC community needs to understand that we're actually going to take action, because we sat here for 4 years and did nothing.
You were on the committee.
We can keep, and I can tell you that that committee was nothing. I said it here in council that it was a joke. Mm-hmm. That the only thing that came out that I agreed with was that there are 28 community centers that we didn't reflect in CACs. It's the only thing. And I said that at a public comment section, and I'll say it now. The reason that I'm okay with how this happened today is because this is what you did to us 4 years ago. It doesn't feel good,
I didn't do it. So You can blame me, but I didn't. And
I did.
that little smile on your face, I know you're feeling really good right now.
Can we
Can we
get
I
Let's get a
do.
motion in a second. We've got a motion on the table. Do we have a second?
So what I was going to,
Question, just for clarification.
now
So
this
are we
is my
still
second
bringing-
question, is about staff, because we gave you direction.
Right, that's my question.
And so I know there's some confusion here. We gave staff specific direction to come back to us. The city manager asked us for a couple of months to come back to us.
Well, let's
So-
go through the things. The first point is CACs with 3 monthly meeting space. At our retreat, we already acknowledged that that is possible. That's already going into effect. So that's done. The allowing city access to TV or to Teams or Zoom, I did say if it's found, so there is some time, if that's going to be the 2 months, that we need to come back with that, that's fine. And then 3 is to provide a succession plan, which is going to take longer than a few months. So I'm interested in hearing what that could look like for staff, but it's all things that we discussed, which was intentional. And this is no direction different than what we've discussed.
So the only thing, if you'll allow me just a second, Mayor, to kind of just get clarification for staff so that we'll know what we're doing and bringing back, is the opportunity for the access to the facilities. Let's just say there were 18 CACs in the past. We don't have 18 facilities available. So what we're going to have to now go back and do, based on what Ms. Hinton proposed through her presentation for the engagement network, is to kind of figure out what facilities we do have that will be able, that are not rented out or already assumed through the end of the fiscal year. So if that might pose a little bit of issue, the other two pieces, we will bring that back with the rest of everything else that we talked about on the
And
at the
just
retreat.
for, as this partnership grows, just to understand, there are currently 9 active CACs, 6 of which already use space. The others don't have leadership. So none of those that are in, let's say, our Forestville location, our South Central location that were there, they don't even have a team to be able to access those facilities, yes. So I wouldn't be as concerned with those because we're still in that growing process, and that's where the partnership with Raleigh Neighborhood College and Citizens Leadership Academy comes so that we can help them build it, and then when it's available, that can become. So that's not an item that would need to be put forth tomorrow or in 2 months. Those are things that the current CACs that are meeting already have that access, and we're just making sure that we have a framework that we can grow with.
Okay.
Understood?
But allow us to bring back a manager's report, just so that there is some consistency and a level of expectation, so that we will be able to provide the facilities. That's all we're asking, just for clarity. We can put that in, potentially in Friday's manager's report.
I would very much appreciate it. And then just to speak directly to CAC, I am very appreciative that you're here. I know that this was something that needed to be said because we have been drug along for way too long. So while we did discuss it in our city council retreat, this is something I want you to know that as a council, we are committed to. We waited for too long, not understanding that that commitment was never going to turn into a reality. And I wanted to make sure that you know that this council does support that. So thank you so much. And I will put forth that motion once again.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Mayor Pro Tem?
I had something to say, but
Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry, Mary.
Councilmember Black?
Please go ahead.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, all in favor? Okay, thank you. That was unanimous.
Awesome.
And,
And then
And do
my
you have